Hi everyone, it's Patricia Warby, Alchemy Therapies here, and a chat is on its way with my lovely colleague and friend, Janie Perry, naturopathic nutritionist. Welcome, Janie. It's lovely to see you again.
Hi, Patricia. Lovely to see you too. Thanks for having me on.
I know. We spoke. Oh, it's probably about a year ago, I think, when we last had a conversation together. But I just thought, given that times are tough at the moment, a lot of people are going through lots of challenges, aren't they? That we are working together, you and I, on lots of clients as a team, and I thought it'd be a good moment to maybe discuss how that differs perhaps from working just solo with, one person, from the client point of view, as well as from our point of view.
It's great that we've got a good sort of handful of clients that we're working together with, and I think the team approach is really helping people to move forward quicker. Certainly someone I've seen this week who's been working with you and another one of our colleagues, the homeopath, who has just moved forward leaps and bounds in the last couple of months from where he was, and I think it's almost working as a team on the different layers, isn't it? That from my angle on the nutrition side, I'm very much focused on the physical side of people's healing, recovery, and yourself, obviously looking at the emotional side. And it almost seems that dual approach seems to allow the body to heal a little bit quicker. So what's your experiences so far?
I think it's it's more than the sum of the parts. When you're adding in a nutritional angle, and then you're adding in an emotional angle, and then maybe you're supporting the bioenergetics of the person. There's a cumulative effect, I think, on the body, because the body is energy, so if you're only getting one energy input, that's good, it's different, it's new, it's making a change. But if you're getting 3 or 2, it has that amazing boost to the energetic healing properties of the body. So for me, it's sort of adding in extra oomph, I can't think of another word, to the process, and it goes a lot quicker. But also, I think people feel much more supported. And I think that there is a problem with working one-to-one. And here's the problem I've perceived, is that you're not there all the time, right? You have this appointment with somebody for an hour, and it might be an hour a month, it might be an hour every 6 weeks, or whatever it is. And they're great while you're working with them, and maybe in the week afterwards. And then there's a kind of natural tendency to revert back to what the patterns of thinking, the habits of behavior, if you can't be there. But if in a team effort we can stagger, because I know you and I do that, we stagger our appointments so that you're in between mine and vice versa, then they've got a much sort of more even support structure, and less likely to kind of revert back. So that does seem to make a difference, doesn't it?
I think it's almost keeping that positive message flowing, isn't it?
Flowing.
Support there, a little bit of the accountability, the check-in, what's worked so far, the last few weeks, what's working for you, what's not. And keeping the momentum going, because it is, as you say, that starts to sort of drop off a little bit if the sessions are months, 6 weeks, kind of a little bit too long. What's the saying? Takes 3 weeks to create a new habit, doesn't it? So really that 3 weeks is where they really need that support, and the second 3 weeks is really kind of instilling that to become a sort of default behavior almost, isn't it? One of the things I certainly see, obviously I'm working on the physical angle, and as a nutritionist and naturopathic, digestion is at the core of our health, and there's obviously lots that we can do from a food perspective, looking at testing if needed to check out how what's going on in the gut, and it's often the first place I start, that real core of our health. But also from the emotional perspective, our nervous system is completely entwined within our digestive tract. And actually, when people are very stressed or got a lot of trauma, both they're stuck in that sympathetic dominant side. They're stuck in the stress mode. So their gut doesn't work. So whatever I do from that physical angle, if they're not working on the emotional stuff, they will be almost like holding this tension in the gut. So it doesn't want to digest, it doesn't want to repair. So certainly by almost soothing that emotional side, soothing the nervous system, starts to allow that a little bit more of a relaxed digestion, which allows it to work. Allowing them to get into that parasympathetic side that we know that's where they digest, that's where they repair and recharge. And I think that's the lovely combination that I've always seen, the dual approach of the emotional and physical work together. And as you say, that accumulative effect, the more that they're working on their health and their well-being, the more benefits they're going to see, that the quicker they're going to get back their energy, back their health, back whatever it is that they're working on.
I know we've had a lot of clients actually that they usually start with nutrition because that's the first thing you think of when you've got an issue. I need to change my diet, or I need to look at what's happening. But very few people take into account the stress side, and stress is from past experience as well as what's going on in your life currently, because it actually blocks any other changes you're likely to make, because it, as you say, it puts you in this state of you can't relax. So your gut is never going to accept the supplementation. It just passes straight through. So I think for people who are working on particularly chronic conditions, you and I tend to work mostly on chronic conditions. I mean, it does work with acute issues as well, of course, but you've got this whole cycle of long-term chronic stress, which has downregulated your digestion and your absorption. So putting in, well, let's be honest, supplementation can be expensive. So putting in, a whole raft of changes into the gut, but then them not to be absorbed because the whole system is rejecting it, that sensitivity is a bit wasteful. So I think it actually it's beneficial for both of us to know that each of us is working on a complementary side of that person that we're working with. And I'm trying to get the stress down, you're trying to get the absorption up, and those two do work together. So for me, it's just a win-win really to work with people together. And it's how the health service obviously should work, really. And sometimes does, if you're lucky, you get people collaborating. But it's been less and less, I think, recently, as obviously the health service is under so much pressure and strain to keep going. People have less and less time to confer with colleagues. I mean, you and I have regular kind of team meetings, don't we? And in our other teams, I know you're in a separate team from me, and we're in a slightly bigger team together as well. And there's sort of like, there are like worlds within worlds here, but it's finding the time.
I think it's you hit the nail on the head there. The NHS is under so much pressure at the moment, and collaboration is probably not happening. Whether it did in the past or not, I don't know so much. But I think that's almost the trauma that's come out of the last couple of years as well, Patricia, is stress that's on people for various different reasons, and needs to certainly be looked at and addressed as well. You talked about something there, which I think is a key point to discuss a bit further, about sensitivity. A lot of I do have a lot of clients with chronic exhaustive conditions who are very, very sensitive, and we have to go in really gently with food changes and supplementation, and look at often I would consider looking at requesting samples for the clients so that they can try things out first. I'd be really interested to hear your sort of view on the sort of sensitivity and why does that happen from the emotional side? What impact does that have?
So sensitivity is an epigenetic effect. So it's both your genetic predisposition plus the environment. And if your environment is stressful, if it contains conflicts, internal conflicts, like I'm in the wrong job, I'm in the wrong relationship, I can't trust people because my emotional needs weren't met when I was young, and that's my model of the world. And you are basically setting certain genes to come on, which promote, say, for instance, cortisol production. And cortisol is extremely damaging. It's the most, one of the most important stress hormones, probably next to adrenaline, because it's normally meant to regulate its, which is the stress response system, off. So if you're bathed in cortisol the whole time, because your genes are promoting that, or they're stopping you from breaking it down properly, loads of effects happen from that. But one of the main ones, with your brain, first of all, affects your brain, and all the regulatory neurohormonal effects. So you end up kind of running on this burnout. You know, you are stressed, but you don't know you're stressed. You don't always know, because it's become so normal. The fact that you're wired all the time, that your sleep isn't that restful, has become part of your normal everyday. So it's sometimes hard for people to realize how much stress they're under, and it's having this cascade of effects on the whole body, where their brains are telling their gut, hurry up, so everything speeds through, or collapse and slow down, because we're under so much threat, you know. And so people are getting constipation as well as diarrhea, and there's malabsorption and dysbiosis, sorry, all these long words, but dysbiosis, of course, you know, but just for people listening, is the imbalance in your gut flora, because we're more than just one person. We're a community of organisms. We're the host, if you like, for a community of organisms that lives in our gut. And a healthful, balanced, joyful, creative life is essential to that balance. And so this sensitivity can wire us to see threat everywhere and completely wreck those systems, for the reasons that you already said. You know, you've got a huge nerve network in the gut. So if these messages of I'm in the wrong life, I can't cope, I'm overwhelmed, they're going to actually affect everything in your life, but particularly digestion, which is the seat of your immune system. It's the seat of your reaction to the world. You know, how you are in the world is largely in your inner skin, which is your gut lining. So yeah, it wires you for threat, basically, permanently.
Yeah, fascinating. Thank you for expanding on that. I think that's really helpful. And as you say, the digestion is the one system that's exposed to the external world, isn't it? Obviously. So it's hugely important, and getting that balance is key. And that's, you know, it's a real passion for me, getting with digestion. That's the starting point I always see as health. So
well, we're living stressful lives anyway, and then we're adding extra stress right now, because we've got, you know, all the stuff that's going on in the world that's seemingly unending, you know, this constant fear of threat to our existence. So there's lots going on at the moment that isn't helping people to live good lives, balanced lives. So you and I are more needed than ever, I think.
I'm certainly seeing the team approach much more needed with clients in the last couple of years, hugely, for all the reasons we've explained. And I think that then helps people to get to where they want to in terms of their health goals. And you know, investing in that in the short term helps with the long term effect, basically, doesn't it? Gets people there. It's
a good point, actually, that the investment as opposed to cost, because a lot of people think, well, it costs a certain amount, that's quite a lot, you know, but without your health, you have nothing. You can have all the money in the world, but without your health, it's completely useless. And your health is the most important thing in your life. And I think we have to take people away from the state I was in 10, 15 years ago, which was I didn't spend any money on me because I had poor self-esteem, and it didn't seem worth it. And I would go, well, unless I'm really ill, I'm not going to spend money on myself. But now I see it more as health maintenance, as kind of keeping myself well, to go and see people, not because I'm in terrible pain or I have a really big problem, but because I want to maintain my health. And that's an investment that I deem worthwhile, because I want a good life. I want a long life. I want a productive life. And I think we've all been sold this notion that, particularly in the UK, where health care is ostensibly free, although it isn't because we pay for it in national insurance, but we're used to saying, well, doc, fix me when things go wrong. We don't take responsibility for what we can do to make lifestyle changes and get help from people who know a little bit more than we do to help support ourselves, you know. So for me, the investment angle is really important to kind of say, how much is your health worth, you know?
I think that's a really, really valid point. It's a mindset shift there, really, Patricia, isn't it? In terms of, as you say, investing in our health before it drops away. And similar to yourself, I had a chronic fatigue experience, post-viral fatigue, about 15 years ago. And before that, I wouldn't really have done a lot to invest in my health. But when you've lost your health, you throw everything at it to regain it, because, as you say, you can't live your life as you want to when you're in bed or your health is on the floor. So it's about investing as a preventative measure, as a maintenance measure to keep health well and enjoy life to the maximum, rather than limping around or putting up with this ache or pain. Doing something about it, because there's always a reason, isn't there? That's the cause. That's physical. A huge passion for me from looking from a physical angle and an emotional angle. What's the causes for why the body is out of balance? By addressing those causes, it's amazing how the body can come back into balance.
It truly is.
Nourishes.
It's
lovely to see when we bring that together.
Well, it's great, and I think when people understand that, when they realize they're more powerful than they thought they were, because we tend to give, if we say, you know, I can't do anything, I need someone else to heal me, that's not how we work. We're very collaborative. We work with people with the condition, not with the condition that the person has, right? So that's very different. And I think it helps people to gain their own power, to find what works for them and develop that in their lives. And so it's a much different approach to the one that current healthcare uses. And actually, it's one that I've been developing a little bit recently in my group program, which I've been trying to bring in to show people that isolation is so much a big part of why we get ill. All right, we think we're alone, we think we're separate, particularly if we've had situations in our lives that have, you know, we've gone through a divorce, or we've had a bereavement, or we've lost a job that we really loved and valued, or some form of loss of meaning in our life. And isolation will definitely trigger a lot of these symptoms, you know, the sense of being alone with our pain or problem. And so my recent foray into bringing together a community approach, sort of an extension of the team approach, if you like, is to bring people going through a program together to discover not only do emotions impact your mental health, but they absolutely impact your physical health in ways that we've already intimated. And so having a community of people to learning together, sharing together, finding what they have in common rather than what divides them is hugely empowering. And it has these massive shifts in what people are able to do in their lives. They start to feel well, they start to feel in harmony with themselves, you know, they start to understand who they really are. Because we're often taught that we're not enough, that we don't fit, you know, and that message is very damaging, as you've already mentioned. So I'm doing that right now.
Brilliant. Where do we find the group course, Patricia?
So it's called the Emotional Audit Program, and you can find it on myemotionalaudit.com. We've done the founder membership last year, so we've kind of developed the program. That was an exciting time because we got people in and they helped me put it together, really. I had the idea, but I needed input, and now it's kind of fully formed and ready to go.
Wonderful.
And it's 14 weeks, but it's not so intense that, you know, you have to give up the rest of your life. It fits around your life. But the wonderful thing is the community aspect, the group aspect. It's really, really huge. And, you know, and I think, as I said, it's almost an extension of this team approach that you and I are doing, and which is providing great results for our clients. So thank you. And thank you so much for talking to me. And how can people find you, Janie?
So my business name is Happy Bean Nutrition and Wellbeing Solutions, and the web address is www.happy-bean.co.uk.
Brilliant.
Details on there, and I'll happily have offer people a free half an hour consultation to have a chat about their issues and how we can support that and work with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
So chat to you as always.
Yeah, it was really nice to catch up again. Thank you, Janie, and take care. No doubt we'll talk again soon.
Sure.
All right.
Take care.
Bye for now, everyone. Catch me on alchemytherapies.co.uk and subscribe. Take care.